My name is Tom Okore, and Kenyan, born and raised in Kenya. Went to school here and went abroad, where I met my wife, Natalia, and my son, Timur. We met many years ago, in 2000, and we moved to Kenya in 2006, but didn't have a family until last year, which is 2013. 2017, yeah.
Yes.
Wow, it's been that long. Yes, so there was a gap for a long time, and we thought we were just waiting, but apparently then there was a problem we were not aware of.
My name is Natalia, or Natasha as usually people call me. I came to this place 2.5 years ago, and then the rest, I guess, is history. It took me about 7 months to narrow down my research to Dr. Ndegwa and Footsteps to Fertility. Finally, I did my research online. There was really nobody to ask, and I did check the big hospitals, but I really wanted a small, friendly clinic with a female doctor. And so I had 4 different options, including the big hospitals, but this was my option number 1. After I met Dr. Ndegwa, I decided I didn't need to go to my plan B, C, and D because this was the right place. It's friendly, and Dr. Ndegwa is really kind and soft-spoken. It was perfect, and I really liked the location. We waited for a long time to try and have a baby, and when it didn't work out, pretty much right away, I started my research. Dr. Ndegwa, as any other doctor, asked a few questions and told me to do a few tests. Once those tests came back, I became an IVF candidate, which was basically what a doctor does. You get the test results and you're told what to do next. So then next was another test called hysteroscopy, which, as I'm told, not everybody decides to do, and it's when the doctor confirms that your uterus is able to host a baby. It was not even a question, because if it has to be done, it has to be done. I basically did everything my doctor told me to do.
When the time came that actually we had to do IVF, yes. We were explained what the process entails and what needs to happen. And so there were basically 2 aspects of it. There is first the medical part, and if all is well, then of course there's the financial part. And the medical part, we have to meet certain requirements health-wise, and that was done, went very well. And then of course there's the financial part, which I think we were already psychologically prepared for it. So we had put aside some money, and we made sure that it happened.
Once I choose a doctor, I understand that a doctor is not God, and they do their best, and I trusted that Dr. Ndegwa will do her best. And so I followed all the steps, and once that test was done, we were waiting to just go on with the IVF. Like probably any other couple, we didn't know exactly what that meant, but she explained briefly, and I guess once you start, you just every day do what you're told. So we did the 2 weeks of injections, which were absolutely painless. The only maybe inconvenience was I had to come for appointments every single day, because Dr. Ndegwa needed to check the growth of my eggs, and once she decided it was time, then they were extracted under anesthesia, which was usually it gives me a good sleep. And then I went to work, and then I waited. And I waited for, well, maybe 6 hours to be told that we had 6 options and 6 successfully fertilized eggs. And then you get to wait for 3 to 5 days, and in our case it was 5. And then this wonderful fertilized egg, or I guess you asked how many you want, became a part of my body again. And then you have to wait again, and that is the hardest part, because after he becomes a part of your body, and I think I had an idea that it was going to be a boy. You have to wait for 2 weeks. That was the most difficult thing. 2 weeks of waiting. 2 weeks of waiting, wondering if it worked and if my body is okay hosting this baby and if this baby wants to be my baby. I had some cramps and I was really worried that my body was trying to evict this baby. But I Googled. I tried not to Google too much because you always read bad stories on the internet. But I had to Google, and I found a source that said that it's not unusual for women to experience cramps in the first 3 months of pregnancy. So I decided that it was his way of finding a place in my uterus, and it made me just fine. It also helped that I had a job, and going to work and not having time to think about this really helped, just being distracted. 2 weeks later, I came and did my pregnancy test. It was slightly less than 2 weeks, and found out that I was pregnant, which was shockingly exciting. I expected it, but it is still something that you can't imagine until it happens to you. Yes, and that's it. First time I heard his heartbeat was when he was 7 weeks old. And every time I came to see Dr. Ndegwa, I got a chance to see a little bit of him because we did a scan every single time. And that's one other reason I love this place. I don't think every single doctor has the chance to do the scan, but because this is an IVF clinic, we have this opportunity. Yes, he was born 9 months later. He was born on the date I wanted him to be born on. And he's perfectly healthy, he's gorgeous. He's, well, of course, to me, being a parent, he's the best and the most beautiful and the smartest possible.
And I was pleasantly surprised that one of my clients actually already had done this process more than 30 years ago. He's a Kenyan, but they went and did it in the UK, more than 30 years ago. And, his son is a buddy of mine, and we were surprised that actually, this guy is healthy and fine and he looks like me, and so of course I got very excited because, hey, my son has been born and he is, I have a living witness, somebody who's gone through the same. So I think it gave me a lot of reassurance and confidence that, all will be fine. And I can keep talking on and on and on, but hey, here is the living proof that it's possible, it's all possible. I would, don't care how much it will cost. Okay, if I was to go through this again, so I can be with him, I would pay what it'll take. I don't care how much it is. It is not worth any money in this world. So, would I do it again? Absolutely. People come with many fears. The biggest fear I've had is, is it ethical? My answer to you is yes, because it's just a medical procedure. Is it against the Bible? I've heard people say, oh, it's against the Bible. Well, that to me really it's a fallacy, biggest fallacy I've ever had, because then you should stop going to the hospital, because when you go to the hospital, the doctors have been given the knowledge to treat you. And so here's a case where we are being treated. We can have a baby, we're just being treated. There's no religion in the world that would tell you that, a proper religion would tell you that you can't go to the hospital to be treated. This is a medical condition, and I would encourage anybody, if they're not able to have a baby in the normal, natural way, then this is a good option, very good option. So they should not fear about the perceived or perception that it is intrusive and it's against the Bible, or it is painful, or it makes you less a man or something. All those are just stories, To me, I try to say that medical has developed over the years, and we have to embrace what God has given to us. God has said, if you're sick, you go to the hospital, you get treated. And that's what exactly was done to us.
Well, so if you want a baby, a wonderful baby like mine, There's absolutely no reason to be afraid of anything, and this is probably one of the best places possible in Kenya because Dr. Ndegwa is kind, is encouraging, and there's nothing to be afraid of, absolutely nothing. It is painless. There are usually no side effects, and I had none. And maybe you've never met a person who has done it before, but I am real, I am here, I'm in Kenya, I'm in Nairobi, and my baby is real. He's perfectly healthy. So if you really want a baby, just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it too long. Just do it. There's nothing to be afraid of.